I got a phone call August the 8th of 2010 that there was a problem, and my first question was, where is my baby? And someone told me he didn't make it. So we got in our vehicle, drove down Main Street, Main and Wyant, and there my son lied in the ground. My son was dead. My son didn't discriminate against his friends. He loved life, he loved people. He was a college student in his second year in the School of Architecture at Columbus State Community College. He made choices. He chose not to carry a weapon. He chose not to sell drugs. He was a very positive, very loving young man. He went out with his friends and they were enjoying life like any other 20-year-old would do. That's what we did when we were 20. We enjoyed life. My son was standing near 3 people, 2 friends and a relative. Let me give you a little background. Fairmore Elementary School is where my son went to play basketball. My son was no different than any of us. We're here gathered for a reason. We have one thing in common right now. When we leave this place, I don't know what you do, you don't know what I do. And that's how he was when they played basketball. They were there to enjoy each other's company. When everybody went their separate ways, he didn't know what other people did. Back to what happened that night. He was sitting outside. He wasn't a partier, just enjoyed his friends, sitting on a stump, and 4 SUVs pulled up. And the boys, cowards as I call them, got out of the vehicle, went behind a fence, shot two shots from a 9mm, the gun jammed, and then...
It's okay, Mommy. It's okay, Mommy. It's okay, Mommy.
Proceeded to pull out a assault rifle and shot 30 rounds. There were about 50 people out there that night. 1 person was injured. 1 person was shot in the head, and that was my son. My son was an innocent bystander, didn't gangbang, didn't do anything related to drugs. My message is, know your children, know your children's friends, know what the friends do. You know, there wasn't a whole lot I could say to my son because he's grown. But he didn't discriminate against his friends, he just loved people. Violence doesn't discriminate, it has no face, it doesn't care, it's there, it's real. This is a horrible tragedy that my family, that we're still trying to recover from. Because like I said, if my son, was a gangbanger, as a parent I would have to say, you know what, maybe you did something to harm somebody somewhere down the road, because what goes around comes around. But he wasn't. He didn't do anything. He was innocent, totally innocent. My message to young people, watch your surroundings, watch who you hang with. I'm sorry. Know your friends, It's painful for a parent to pull up at a crime scene and to see your child knowing there's nothing you can do. Nothing. I was very angry when I came here this morning because they have a memorial set up where my son was, and I'm a Christian woman, so I just call it the place where God took him to heaven. That's just what I call it. It was a young boy that was shot and killed last Wednesday. And I watched, let me back up. The hardest thing for me right now is my son's case is still open because there are other participants that have not been held accountable for what happens. I told the detective, I'm not going to rest because I don't want another mother to go through what we're going through. My son has 2 younger sisters. There's no reason why an 8 and a 10-year-old has nightmares and has to go through therapy. That's not fair. My daughters should not have to try and mother me because I'm so depressed and upset about my son. What I'm doing today is therapy for me. If I can help one person, talk to one mom, one dad, it makes it worth it for me. On my way here, the boy that was killed last week, there were about 40, and I know he was a gangbanger because my mother-in-law lives right there in that area. The situation with my son was, it took 4 of us to raise him. My husband and I, and his father and his wife. And it was a wonderful blend. It was absolutely wonderful. But my son spent time with his father, who lived on the east side of Columbus, but he spent time with me. I live in Reynoldsburg. The evening that he was there was his time with his father. And as young people, just bored, you know, I'm just going to go over here and sit and chit-chat and enjoy and have fun. My point is, when I went this morning to meditate and pray before I came here, they were gathering for this young boy, and I hope I don't offend anyone, but the gathering for this young boy that passed away on Wednesday, I know that was gang related. And it hurt me to look over at them partying. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. Partying, drinking. After the funeral services are over this evening, they want to go pop a few up in the air. That's not how we raise our children. That's not how people are supposed to raise their children. That represents, as a mother, everything that I'm totally against. Everything. So I want to kind of close and just tell you moms and dads, know your children, communicate with your children. They get older, they make their own decisions, they make their own life choices. But in my case, my son made a choice. It wasn't a bad choice, but violence is everywhere. It doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your ethnicity. It doesn't care about your gender. It is real. Thank you.